Hey, welcome back to World Entertainment, and it's here, the review for episode 5 of Rings of Power. And what's back this week? Well,
I bring you love.
Yep, he brings us love, because this episode is pretty much all about the rings and Sauron trying to convince Celebrimbor to make the rings for men. And this episode is absolutely, once again, boring as hell, where literally nothing is happening and it's just mind-numbingly stupid, and what they're setting up and who they're setting crap up through. Yeah, so this episode, it's really hard to keep focus with these episodes because the conversations in them take forever, but they say nothing. They're trying to just speak all this gibberish, basically, and you're just like, I couldn't care less what you're saying. So we do get Galadriel, but only at the very end. We basically are spending our time with Sauron and Celebrimbor and the dwarves. That's basically who we're only with in this. Oh, and the Numenorians. We go there for a bit of crap. And it's just this head-scratching garbage. In the sense that people who need to get to places don't seem to be able to get there. And people who shouldn't be able to get there can get there and go back and get back again in no time at all. It's crazy. So, as you remember, Elrond and Galadriel and the away team of Expendables went on their way to go up to Celebrimbor to say to him, hey look, Sauron is back and we can't trust anyone, basically. They still haven't made it there. No one has made it there. And yet, in their entire journey up there, the dwarves have managed to get from Khazad-dûm over to there and back again. I think it's Elendil that they're going to. And back again. And then there's other people from other areas going to places and back again before these idiots have even made it halfway to where they're going. You're like, what exactly is going on? How are the people who are supposed to make it here can't, and the people who shouldn't be able to make it there before them are making it and vanishing again? It's so ridiculous. But we start off with a shot of mountains and it goes right into the ring of King Durin, who has all the rings, but the ring tells him exactly where to find the area in the mountain to hammer through to get sunlight in, and it's on a foundation which doesn't stop him, but now greed has overtaken him. Yeah, so he basically, I might as well go through all the crap with the dwarfs. So he just hammers through the wall and then tells them like, oh, you know, don't ever not listen to me again. We go to the other dwarfs then who are up with Celebrimbor, thanking him for the rings and whatnot, and we get the reveal of the doors. So we get, yes, the doors of Durin. Yeah, they set that up in this, including the whole only friends basically who speak the riddle or whatever can open these doors. And that's in with Celebrimbor and Sauron and everyone standing there. And you're just like, oh god, did they really just do this? And yes, they did. And Sauron's all mopey. It's ridiculous. And Celebrimbor's like, why are you so mopey? And he's like, did I go on too long? And it's basically because he wants to, he's trying to manipulate him to make the rings for men, which isn't happening. Disa and the dwarfs are like going around. They're all kind of chuffed now that sunlight's coming back in. But Disa's not happy because like the rock, what are they called? Rock singers or something? I can't even remember what they're meant to be called. But because they can sense and are the people who control basically where you can find the light and stuff, she's not happy that King Durin was able to do it with the ring. But they're pretty much getting money again, and she buys this weird ball for her cousin or something, and she drops it, and it goes rolling off down into a cavern where she sings to find it, because it's stone obviously, and she finds it and you see the water ripple. But then it starts something singing back or calling back almost, and she thinks nothing of it and she's going to walk out, and it gets louder and the water ripples. Yeah, you guessed it. You've probably guessed it already. they're hinting at the Balrog. She is sensing and finding the Balrog. But then we go from there up to King Durin, who has, this is funny, he has these other dwarves around him. The most diverse group of dwarves you've ever seen in your life. I mean, it's like a packet of Skittles in here. How these guys look. But they're representatives of their kingdoms. And he's basically now holding dwarves to ransom. That he's saying, oh yeah, these rings are for your kings, but you have to give my terms to them. And what his terms for them are is basically, oh, you want the rings? I want half of everything you get out of what you dig up. So all their riches and stuff, he wants half of. Then we get this moment with them, right, that just shows you how time doesn't work in this show. So the king is Durin, that is telling the black-haired dwarf, not sure what the hell he's called, where to dig next. And it's down in that area where Disa has discovered, or is discovering, the Balrog. Where Durin the Third, or fourth is he? Yeah, he's the fourth, comes in and says, you can't, Disa sense evil down there. And Durin the Third is like, you have your orders, go down. And he's like, please, father, you have to, and he's like, keep telling your man, you have your orders, go. And he says, the stone bears, whatever the hell they're called, they can sense the rocks. And he goes, with the ring I can see the rocks. Now he took the ring off at this moment, and he freaks out, like he's screaming at your man. He's like, where is it? What have you done with it? And your man's like, what are you talking? It's right there, you took it off, you said you made your hand feel heavy. So you can see the corruption is starting, and his kind of way to persuade Durin the fourth into not causing shit is basically he gave him back his rank as prince. So he goes to Disa and he's like, I tried, I really did try. And she's like, well, just promise me then that you'll never put on one of the rings. He's like, I promise. That's all there is with the dwarfs. It was boring. The Numenorians crap was basically Pharazôn has started to strip everyone that served under Queen Muriel of their ranks and everything else. He's like, who gave this order? And it was his daughter going, yeah, it was me. And they're like, right, whatever. And he goes to walk off, and all the men stand to attention and say, captain leaving deck or some shit. And the Pharazôn's son, who is called, what the hell's he called? Keeman, I think is how you say it. He's like, you just can knock that off. He's not your captain anymore. And he comes walking back and goes, he's right, he's not. And then they all still cheer for him, like, yay, our captain, thank you, captain, and all this bleeding crap. That ends up going to, they're in a sacred temple, setting off candles into the water and stuff. And Balak's head, Keeman, comes in with soldiers and says, take them away and all this crap, and that it's no longer a sacred temple, it's real estate that's in the way. They end up having a big fight in there, and what's his head is killed by Keeman Valandale, or whatever the hell he's called. He gets stabbed and dies, and it's hilarious because he's having a fight with Keeman, right? It just shows you how stupid this is. Oh, I forgot something with the dwarfs about the time, which I'll go back to now. But he's fighting Keeman, right? And they're struggling, and he's holding this, he's drowning him, like Keeman's drowning Valandale, or whatever he's called. He gets the better of Keeman and gets his sword out, breaks his arm, and sticks the sword to his throat. Do you know what all his troops are doing? Like Keeman's troops and soldiers, security, all? Nothing. They're all just kind of holding sticks to other people. It's like, wow, your leader's literally has a sword to his throat, and you aren't helping at all. Way to go. You're just like, Jesus Christ. And that's where Elendil, whatever the fuck they're called, tells him, oh no, drop the sword, and he does, and Bollock's head stabs him and kills him, and takes the rest of them away and says, oh, we'll say he started the uprising, all that crap. Pharazôn we just see staring at the ball thing, and that's all we really get with him. Everything else now is with the elves, and it's funny because, as I said, no one seems to be able to get to where they're meant to go, until they need to, because all of a sudden Elrond manages to make it back to the king. Yes, that's right. Elrond made it all the way back to Gilgalad to tell him, oh, Galadriel was right about all this shit in Sauron. You got to send the army up to Celebrimbor. And he's like, well, we can't because we've already sent it somewhere else, and we can't fight 2 battles on one side, you know, because Galadriel wants them to go because of Adar, and he wants to send it elsewhere for Sauron, and that's all you get with them two. Everything else is with Sauron and Celebrimbor, and him just trying to convince him to make the rings for men. I swear to God, how people can't because he's starting to turn a bit more. He's not being as nicey now. You know, Celebrimbor's like, I can't make the rings. And then he goes, okay, I understand. And he starts walking away, and Celebrimbor thinks, okay, we've got past that. And he goes, I'll make them myself then. And you're like, Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, by the way, the time thing with the dwarves, how you prove they don't know time. When Durin the Third is telling the guy to go down and dig, he sits at the table and there's a steak in front of him, right? There's a particular type of steak sitting on a plate with like a potato or something next to that. Durin, I forgot this as well, Durin the Fourth comes to Celebrimbor and tells him there's something wrong with the rings. It's corrupting my father, blah, blah, blah. Celebrimbor's like, it can't be the rings are perfect. The other 3 rings worked. And he's like, well then, it has to be the people who made it. And he's like, what do you know about this Anatar? When they have another conversation later, just the 2 Durins, the same steak and the same potato in the exact same spot are still on that table. Meaning, you just shot this whole thing in one go and just chopped it in half and thought nobody would notice. Yeah, morons. But basically, how these people aren't figuring out that Sauron is evil, because he's really getting very pushy about the rings. And all I can think when I see him isn't just the I bring you love thing. They may as well introduce him into the show like this.
No, it's the evil wizard!
Hey, you little forest creatures. None of you sons of bitches try to be heroes.
That's right. None of you tried to be heroes. Oh, it really is just like, this is so fucking stupid. The blonde girl, or whatever the hell she's called, Meradina or something, has one of the rings on for some reason. We're not even sure which ring she has on, but she's invisible when she has it on, and she's kind of going mad and trying to stop Anatar basically from making the rings. And they're like, it's okay, what did you see? And she's like, oh, there's evil, blah blah blah, and it's disguised. You think she's talking about Sauron. She's not talking about Sauron. She's talking about the Balrog, because she says skin of fire and stuff. You're like, oh, she's seeing the Balrog now as well. Okay. There's no explanation as to what ring she had on and where this ring came from. Absolutely none. Unless it's Galadriel's ring, but that would make no sense because Elrond had that. So it's like, what ring did she have on that she could go invisible and start seeing things and freak out? Anatar tells her, oh, you don't have to worry, you know, you're amongst friends, blah, blah, bloody blah. And basically, he's like, just talking shite throughout the whole thing. And it ends with Fodder of the Year orc pulling over a curtain thing on a cart that they just wheeled in, and it's Galadriel, and she comes out and she immediately takes out a small knife and sticks it to Adar's throat. And it's like, oh, you've managed to catch her, put her in that thing, and no one thought to check her for any other weapons. Great. And why did she not try and escape earlier? And it ends with him saying, oh, I didn't bring you here as an enemy. I brought you here to fight a common enemy. And that's where it ends. Every time I see this show, I pretty much feel like...
Third ball. I just threw up at you, people. That's the reality. Another layer to the legend. I am nothing but a human onion. In fact, we all are encore.
Yeah, It's getting worse. It truly is. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. But I will continue to review it. Nothing happens. So it's easy to review. That's the problem, is it's real easy to review because nothing happens. But it's just, the conversations are so boring and nothing. Oh god, I can't wait till it's over. And thankfully there's only 3 episodes left. So with that, I will leave it there for this one. So cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.